Hey, what's up, you guys? We're gonna do a little swip swap, swoopity swappy. And my name's Nick. That's Jake. We got this loner cast, and we're gonna talk about a few things. First off, we're gonna talk about abuse. We're gonna game industry. We're gonna talk about Crash Bandicoot, microtransactions. We're gonna talk about loot boxes. We're gonna talk about next gen game prices, and then we're probably gonna finish it off with the Assassin's Creed
leaks
thing that happened, the leaks that happened. And yeah, I'm Nick. That's Jake. Jake, you got something for us. I know you do.
Yeah, last week we asked you, what is the future of VR? This is what you guys said. It turns out you're right. There is no future.
Great intro. Excellent.
That was good.
All right, so what have you been playing, Jake? I know you beat The Last of Us last week.
Did.
So
I beat The Last of Us right after we did our show last week. I beat it that night.
Really? That night?
So
shit.
I didn't even put it on.
What would you rate it?
Out of 10?
Yeah, out of 10.
I'd probably give it
no points, just straight numbers.
Okay. If there's no points, because I would give it an 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's no points, I'll give it a 9.
Really?
Yeah, because it
gets the benefit on that one.
Yeah, because if we're going by Anthony Fantano's rules, I'd give it a strong 8 to light 9. That's what I'd give it.
Okay.
Strong 8 to light 9. I really liked it. It's not as good as the first. The first one to me is a 10.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, I didn't even put it on what you've been playing because I didn't even play it last week because I beat it. But I have been playing it. I've been just sort of filling the void with just fun, meaningless games until Ghost of Tsushima comes out. So I was playing Prison Architect. Playing Prison Architect, which is just a simulation game. Playing Planet Coaster, which is just a simulation game. Been playing SimCity or City Skylines, which is just a simulation game.
Just all the simulation games.
Been playing Farming Sim, it's just a simulation game. I guess you could see what I've been into the past week.
You've been playing Farming Sim?
I played a little bit of Farming Sim the other day.
All right.
What you been playing?
I've been playing The Last of Us. Apparently, according to you, I'm 30 minutes away from actually beating the game.
Maybe an hour.
An hour.
Hour max.
I beat 100% beat Star Wars Pod Racer on the Switch.
No way.
Yes, dude,
how hard was that?
Not hard at all.
Oh.
I was looking back at it, I was so bad. I was so bad as a little child. I never could have done it. Like, I tried so hard. I remember spending hours just trying to beat Sebulba in his Mos Eisley classic race, and just never could. I could never unlock Sebulba. It took me one try, and I plowed through everything in one go, and I was like, wow, I was an idiot when I was a kid. And
you know what made that game hard for me when I was a kid? I played it on PC, and I had the steering wheel.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that's what made it so hard.
It could have been. And I just wanted to go fast. I think that was the biggest thing. There's a level where you have to slow down and you have to take the turns real slowly. And
we've been playing a lot of dirt, so we're kind of used to that.
Yeah. So as a kid, it was just like, I never got the concept of it. And I was like, I get it now. And so it was a piece of cake. And it really sucks that there's no difficulty setting in the game. I didn't know that. But there's no difficulty setting.
I thought there was.
Pod Racer, there's not.
I remember that game being really fucking hard. And
me too.
I guess not.
Too. No, it's actually pretty easy. You just gotta choose one Pod Racer, level it up to a certain point, and you'll be unbeatable pretty much. So I beat that. Got Ben Quadraneros. Got Sebulba, my favorite, and I've been just kind of jamming on it every once in a while. And then I've also stuck with the Modern Warfare shit, but that's about it.
I remember in Pod Racer when I was a kid, I would always go to the like repair section and just like watch them work on
I
my
know
ship.
my favorite thing to do was to go to the junkyard and have Watto just be like, "Hey, these outlanders, they come to my shop. They look around. They don't buy. Why nobody buy?
Why nobody buy? Annie.
And then your character's just like sitting there, just like the same animations over and over again.
Classic, dude. Classic
so
game.
good. It's so good, and I wish they would make a new one that with
Yeah,
the
they should
difficulty
remake it.
slider and multiplayer and all that stuff. I would be so good in like Unreal Engine 5, the newest Unreal Engine. It would be
Even
perfect.
Frostbite.
Yeah, well, I don't want EA anywhere near it though.
But, they kind of own Star Wars right now. So,
Yeah, for a couple years. Let's hope.
yeah.
Let's hope they do bad, and Disney's like, no, you don't get Star Wars anymore. But EA's turning it around. Speaking of which, EA of all companies, we talked about this last week. They, with the whole freaking all those allegations coming out about abuse and sexual misconduct and just general, shittiness of companies. EA stepped forward, one of the first companies that I've seen step forward, and they, it says right here, Electronic Arts has urged its employees and members of its online communities to come forward with accounts of abuse following a recent wave of allegations within the game industry. On Monday, June 29th, EA called on people with experience of any kind of harassment or sexual misconduct to make a report through one of its resources. And I don't remember where I got this quote, but I kept reading in that thing, and it keeps going on, and it says like, hey, if you're having a problem with HR, don't go to HR, go to somewhere else. And if you're having a problem with that, go here. There's many ways that you can get your problems addressed, and it seems really good. It seems like a really good turn in the right direction for a company that we all thought was, shitty and terrible to work for. They might not be so bad to work for anymore.
Well, call me pessimistic.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I can't help but feel like this is just PR, and like they're just saying that. I mean, as far as I know, EA wasn't one of those companies that was getting in trouble with all the abuse. It was mainly
Ubisoft, I think.
Ubisoft and Twitch, and then the specific guy that wrote for different games. I think one of them was a BioWare game, which is so. I guess that does kind of
guy. I forget his name.
Yeah, I guess that does extend to EA a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's like, why wasn't this a thing before? Why hasn't this always been a thing? Why are you just saying this now? Are you being truthful, or are you just saying this to, I can't help but think this way about it.
And is that because of EA and how it's been for how like they've done it in the past? It just seems like it's not their kind of truthfulness that they have.
I hope they're being honest. I hope it's true. I hate that there's so much controversy in the video games industry. I mean, and it's extending out into the fandom now with like Laura Bailey getting death threats and shit. Like,
oh yeah, that was a new one too. Yeah,
the whole gaming community just seems really toxic right now, and it's really a bummer because I love video games so much, but it's hard. It's embarrassing almost to be a gamer right now because of all the shit going on, and it's like I don't even want to associate with these people, but they are my people.
Right. Yeah.
It's just there's so many scumbags, and I think it's time to thin out the herd, maybe.
It's gotten so big. The gaming industry is multi-billion-dollar industry, which is why EA,
bigger than movies now.
EA in the first place has gotten so shitty because it's just doing what the shareholders, want to do. They don't care about the shareholders. Don't really care about video games, I don't think. So they're like, we just want our money. We want a return on our investment. and it becomes less of about the games and the people and creating an experience that you want to give some people, and it turns it more into just a standard, you know, the standard business. And it's not that. It shouldn't be that. It should be an industry run by fans, made by fans, sustained by fans. You know, it should be people who actually genuinely enjoy
Well,
doing
and
stuff
there's
with their lives.
no matter what, there's always going to be that company. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's always going to be that company that just tries to make money. And honestly, like, whatever, it is what it is. I know we're going to be talking about loot boxes in a minute here, but like, there's always going to be that company that sucks. And that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. It's just like, it's the toxic nature in all of gaming, right? It's
Right,
not
right,
just
right.
EA. It's also Naughty Dog. It's
Mm-hmm.
also the gaming community at large. It's, you know, it's happening at Ubisoft. It's happening probably at indie developers, and we don't even know it. It's happening at IGN, the people who are supposed to report on this stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and it's happening all throughout it. It's not just this one company who sucks, you know, it's the whole thing. So I appreciate EA taking the steps they need to take. So, I mean, I can't hate on them. I won't hate on them because I appreciate them just coming forward and being like, yeah, we probably been fucked up. We want to fix it. Let's fix it.
Yeah. It's really nice that that's coming from such a large company. And you could be right, it could be PR, but it's, you know, it is, like you said, it is nice that they are stepping forward and they're saying this could be a problem, and if it is, talk to somebody within the company and we'll get it sorted out. You know, don't be silent about your harassment.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Um, let's move on to the Crash Bandicoot microtransaction thing that happened.
Yeah.
You remember when that came out?
Yes.
That was earlier in the week. They Crash Bandicoot had, I forget that there's like a skin set that they had, and it was totally tubular skins for Crash Bandicoot, and it was like a day one DLC. And Jim from Jimquisition made a whole video explaining how, like, he was just ranting about how shitty it is for these microtransactions to come out before the game's even released. And however, I agree with that. I feel like all of that hate was a little uh, it was too early for that hate, because they released something right after that that said, no, all these skins are free. It's just a day one patch it's just a day one download that you can get. What are your thoughts about that? Activision putting out Crash
well,
Bandicoot DLC.
well, it's interesting because I'm hearing mixed things about this whole Crash Bandicoot thing, where it's like 1 second there's no microtransactions and they're saying there's no microtransactions, and then the next second I'm hearing, still to this day I'm still hearing there's in-game purchases in the game. So I don't know
Really?
what's true anymore. I'm hearing multiple reports. I don't know if I can just outright believe Activision in saying there is no microtransactions, because they've done that before, and like the new Crash Bandicoot games have microtransactions. Every
The
Activision game has
Crash Team
microtransactions.
Racing.
Yeah,
Crash
Crash
Team
Team.
Racing, yeah.
Yeah, that's
They
what it
said
was.
that wasn't going to have microtransactions, but then, like,
And then like a few
later
months later,
on,
it did.
it's
Right.
like, yeah,
And
yeah,
like that's just what Activision does. So I don't know, man. I I'm not gonna be just like Jim was too quick to shit on them. I'm not gonna be quick to praise them either, because I don't know the truth. We'll see when the game comes out, right? And
right.
like, in fact, we'll see in a couple months after the game comes out if
Mm-hmm.
that's true or not.
Right. Yeah, because, it, it, obviously seems like, again, a PR stunt. in a certain sort of light where they're like, no microtransactions, cool. But then they have this DLC thing leak, and it's everybody kind of like, whoa, there's going to be microtransactions. They're like, no, this is free stuff. But I still feel like even with them saying there's no microtransactions, they'll still, 6 months down the line, they'll be like, oh, you can buy this skin pack, or you can buy this pack for $15 and it gets you 3 skins and whatever.
Doesn't surprise me. And I don't doubt that the Tony Hawk remasters will have in-game purchases. Tons of them, I'm sure.
Could you imagine that? Like the remake. You remember Tony Hawk 1, Pro Skater 1 and 2, you could play as like Darth Maul is the one that stands out to me. You could play as Darth Maul.
Spider-Man
was one of them. Mm-hmm. Shrek, maybe. I don't know.
The eyeball. The
Neversoft eyeball. That's right. Those were unlocked by doing certain things, by getting a certain achievement in the game. You think that they'll incorporate money into those? Like, yeah, you can play as Darth Maul, but you have to pay us $20 to play as Darth Maul instead of keeping true to the original. And,
right. I don't think Darth Maul will be in the game, first of all.
No, but it's just the only example that I really remember.
I think they'll have new unlockable characters, and I think they will be microtransactions. Maybe they'll have like 2 or 3 that you can unlock, and then the rest are in-game purchases. But that's why I don't subscribe to the whole like, well, it's just skins.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't affect the gameplay. And it's like, well, it does affect the gameplay, because a big part of like earlier games, like Tony Hawk, was you played the game to unlock these things. And it was like your incentive to play a lot and like unlock these things. So it does affect gameplay. So it's totally not fair for people to say that. But yeah, I don't doubt that there will be in-game purchases for Darth Maul or whoever it is,
whoever
George Bush, whoever.
It'll be what's a big video game thing going on right now? The Geralt of Rivia, or
they own Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, so those both could be playable characters in that game.
And you got to pay $5 for each of those guys.
Yeah.
And who knows? Who knows?
I don't doubt that at all. I also, I don't know. Whatever.
Here's a segue right here. What do you think? Would you prefer that, or would you prefer loot boxes? Would you rather? Thanks. Would you rather spend $5 to get something that should already be in a game, say Darth Maul in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, or would you rather have like this big list of people that you can possibly get if you pay $5 for a random loot box?
See, I would much rather just pick and buy the character. Although the weird thing is I don't have a problem with loot boxes if they're done correctly. Because there used to be games that had loot boxes and you didn't even have to spend like real world money. It was just like part of the game mechanics.
Right.
Like if it's like that, that's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when it's like you have to pay for the loot box, it's the only way to unlock this thing is to buy a loot box. It's pretty lame. There's nothing gamey about it. It's gambling.
It's gambling. And the UK House of Lords, whatever that really means.
Could you tell me what this means?
I've tried to look it up, and here's the Wikipedia for it. It is the House of Lords, also known as the House of Peers, and domestically usually referred to simply as the Lords, is the upper house of Parliament of the United Kingdom.
It's like their Supreme Court?
Sort of, but nobody is... In order to be in the House of Lords, you have to be appointed, or else by hereditary or official function. So you can't get into it via vote. Somebody has to
same with our Supreme Court. It's They're picked
It's
by
all
the president.
Oh, well, then it's pretty much the same thing. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it
Yeah.
really
Supreme Court
says.
is decided by the. Sorry, this is a total tangent.
Yeah. So
Whatever.
it's a Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in the UK
The UK
says
Supreme Court.
UK yeah, UK Supreme Court says that loot boxes are gambling, and they should be classified as games of chance, which would bring them under the Gambling Act of 2005. If a product looks like gaming, if a product looks like gambling and feels like gambling, it should be regulated as gambling, the report says. And I completely agree with that. If you have like a 6-year-old kid asking his mom for $6 every week so that he can gamble that $6 to hopefully get the Darth Maul costume that he wants in his game, and he doesn't get it, he's going to keep asking for that $6, and he'll get stuff that he doesn't want, and that's pretty much gambling. It's not money to money. It is money to digital object, I suppose, which is the same thing. What you have anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, especially like if you remember back in the day, there was the what's that fucking game? Counter-Strike. There was like the Counter-Strike loot boxes, and they had like a whole trading system, so you could unlock things in these loot boxes, and then you could actually sell them through Steam and like make money off of it. And it was like a whole like economic infrastructure that they built out of this stuff, and like that's totally a thing. My thing is like I don't have a problem with gambling. I'm actually totally cool with gambling if you're an adult over the age of 21. I understand how people, can get addicted to it, and if you have an issue, that can be a problem for you. But like these games, if they have loot boxes that are set up like this, they should be rated M, because you have to be 21 to play them, and they should also
rated M is 17.
And when it says rated M, one of the things should say gambling.
Yeah, contains in-game purchasing
or just not even that. It contains gambling, because in-game purchases and loot boxes are different.
Yeah,
right. Buying a skin versus a loot box is different. Buying a skin is not gambling.
Right.
So under the little M mark, where it's like for violence and language
Sexual.
And gambling, like it should tell you like this is because of gambling. I don't have an issue with gambling. I know it's like illegal or whatever. I don't think it should be. Personally, it's dumb that it is. So like if people want to play these games and they like the whole gambling aspect of it and they want to be a whale, that's fine. It just shouldn't be for kids. It shouldn't be in Battlefront. It should be games like Call of Duty if they want to have that in there, or it shouldn't be in NBA games.
You say Call of Duty, but there's so many kids that play Call of Duty.
Yeah, but that's on the parents, because it is rated M.
That's true. It is. But that's a good point. I don't think it does anything valuable for the game when it's in there. First off, it does nothing. The only thing, because I like playing every kind of strategy when I play video games. So if like I roll a loot box, back in the day, I rolled a loot box and I got like, I don't know, a skin for a character that I never really use, and it's like a rare skin or whatever, I would play that character equipped with that skin just to, be like, hey, look what I got in this random thing. But I don't know where I was going with that, but that's how I play. But there are other, that's the only benefit I can see to having loot boxes, but not with real money. If you are right, if I have to pay you $5 for a random thing, right, to make me play your game's not good anyway. It's not a good, it doesn't help your game out when you lock so much stuff behind a randomized paywall. And
Well, and that could be a solution. Is like the loot boxes are what you unlock with like fake money, right? And that's
right.
what you get with fake money. And if you want to spend money, you can buy individualized things. That
Right, and
works. That makes so much more sense to me.
that's what that would
So
be
then, like, if you're
the
playing the game, it's you don't know what you're going to get. But if you're spending money, you know exactly what you're going to get.
yeah,
You know?
that would be the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
the
you can
best
have the
solution.
loot box in there, but you
You don't
don't
pay
spend
for a
money.
loot box.
I mean, you can put $5 down and roll a loot box, but you can also pay $5 the same amount of money and get whatever skin you want, you know?
I don't think so, dude. I think
No?
because once you start spending money on loot boxes, that's gambling. Like straight up. Like so if you want to get rid of it, it's like the loot box has to be free.
True.
It has
That's
to be.
very true. Yeah, because then it wouldn't be gambling if it wasn't.
Right.
If you actually earned
Because it's not gambling
a
without money.
roll. Right.
It's just play gambling at that point.
Well, it's not even play gambling. It's like,
It is because it's like in-game currency. So it's like playing Texas Hold'em with fake chips.
what if that's the only thing you can do with that? If that's the only way that you can spend that in-game currency, then it's not really gambling. You know, I, I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
I would think. I'm not an expert, but I would think if that's the only thing you get, I don't know, 600 crystals, and you can roll on the gambling or on the loot box table, right? You got those crystals in game. That's the only thing you can spend those crystals on. It shouldn't. I don't necessarily think that would be gambling. That would just be.
It would just be game mechanics.
It would just be a game mechanic. Yeah,
Just
it would
like
be like
just like
unlocking Darth Maul.
when you play fake Texas Hold'em, it's not gambling because it's fake money.
Yeah.
But as soon
Okay.
as you incorporate the money into it, then it's gambling all of a
That's
sudden.
very okay. So yeah, you know more about that than I do. I
Um,
just wanted to put my
yeah,
two
I don't know.
cents in there.
Like that's the way to do it if they want to have that shit. And like the biggest like offenders are definitely like those NBA games, the Madden games, the sports
Oh,
games. Those are like the worst offenders.
those are the worst. Oh
Yeah.
yes, those are the worst. I knew a guy who would spend all of his money. We'll just say all of his money because I don't know how much. He didn't make a whole lot of money, but he would buy the newest NBA game, the newest 2K, whatever, 18, 19, 20, whatever. And he would just any money that he got, he would just put it straight to his character and respec his character or put points into his character. And those games make so much money. And that brings us to the next thing, which is uh, the next gen 2K 2021. Is that the next one that's coming out? The 2K games that are going to be on the next Xbox, and that would be an okay name for the Xbox
The
Series
next
X. Is
box.
the next box, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next Xbox and the PS5, the 2K game that's coming out for those have announced. I don't know if it's announced, but they have mentioned that they're raising their prices of the base game to $10.
Oh.
$10 more.
Yeah.
So games will be 70 and tax and some change. So $78, we'll say,
Yeah.
which for a game like that, for a game like 2K and the community like 2K or FIFA or any sports game where you have to pay real life money to change your stats or to adjust your stats, that is the worst business practice. It's already the worst business practice that I think I've ever seen in a video game. And now
But if
they're
the
raising their prices of the base game.
if
It
the
just
if the UK government is getting on their case though, they may be just looking at different ways to make money at this point to compensate for the fact that they can't have loot boxes in their game anymore. So that could be one scenario. Another scenario, I mean, I look at it in a broader sense because if 2K is doing it, which is one of the biggest gaming companies in the world, I feel like most companies are going to follow suit. And I feel like this is just going to be the future game prices of games across the board.
Yeah.
I think we'll still have those $40 games. Like I still think like Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man is going to be $40, or like Tony Hawk Pro Skater Remastered 1 and 2 is $40, like those kind of games. But I think like full price AAA games are going to be $70 now, and I think that's going to be the new standard,
the new norm for the new games. That
I know you were kind of disagreeing with me yesterday.
I don't think so, because it's for as scummy as the 2K basketball games are, they have such a bad business practice already as it is, where you spend $60 and that gets you the base game right now, right? But then in order to do anything or to put on your favorite jersey or whatever, you have to either put in 16,000 hours into this basketball game, or you can spend $300 and max out your character, whatever. So what they're doing there is you spend $360 on our game, and they say that the next basketball game that's coming out is going to be $370 to max out your guy. And it doesn't make sense to me for any other decent video game company. Like, I do not believe that CD Projekt Red is going to raise the price of Cyberpunk 2077 from $60 to $70. I do not believe that the next Naughty Dog game that comes out on the PlayStation 5 is going to go up to $70. Just because those companies care about their fans, whereas the 2K basketball games, it seems like they're ripping the money out of their fans' hands. They've always been doing that. You know, it's not like some of these companies to practice, hey, give me more money because I said so. But some of these companies are already doing it. So why would they change their practices? You know what I mean?
I think the reason, so games are getting more and more expensive to make all the time.
Right.
They talked about this, you know, games have been $60 since the PS1. In fact, sometimes they were more expensive than $60 during the PS1. And especially the 64, like games could have been like $80, $90 on the 64. Like
for what? Like that the companies wouldn't release that at $80.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong 64 launched at like $85. Like
really?
Yeah, like games used to cost a lot more. Then the $60 kind of became the standard during like late PS1, PS2, and that's just been the standard for 20 years now. And inflation has gone up, console prices have gone up, everything has gone up. The thing I'm more surprised about is not that it's going up to 70. I'm surprised it's not going up to 80, because it's been 20 years. And like with inflation, that kind of makes up for the prices. Plus games cost way more now to make than they did even back then. So to me, it makes total sense. The reason Sony doesn't care about their game prices is because they're not too worried about game sales. The only thing they're worried about is getting more people on their platform. So if they have more games, they get more people on their platform, and they get more people buying PlayStation Plus, which that's how they make a majority of their money, is PlayStation Plus. So they're not too worried about it. But by the time the new Naughty Dog game comes out, right, and the new, I don't know, we'll see with Cyberpunk. I don't know, but like the new, what are they called?
The Insomniac?
The guys who made Cyberpunk.
CD Projekt.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red. I wanted to say Red Faction for some reason. But, you know, by the time those guys' next game comes out, it'll be years from now. And the new norm will be $70 already. So they'll just be like, that's just the new norm. Well. Yeah, it's just $70. Like, and it's just $10. It doesn't really bug me that much. Like $70 versus $60. It's kind of, I'm
pretty
willing,
close anyway.
For a game like The Last of Us, I'd be willing to pay like $100 for, honestly.
Ooh, no.
I really
No,
would.
if that comes out, like if we had like this year has been real slow for us. We haven't had a whole lot of games that you want to play.
Eh, there's
I mean,
been
what was there? Persona
Doom,
5 Royale. Okay, Doom.
Doom
Persona 5.
Eternal,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Persona 5 Royale,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7, which I didn't get, but you got.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Cyberpunk. It's been a pretty
Right.
stacked year.
Right. It will be towards the end of the year, but
Yeah.
the beginning of the year there wasn't a whole lot. So you say 4 games. If you just think about those 4 games, that's $400. If you're spending $100 per game, it's $400
Yeah.
in half a year. It's
I'd like to see more varied prices, honestly. Instead of like
yeah.
one set standard, I would like a game like Persona could still be $60, where a game
Hmm.
like The Last of Us could be $100, and then like a game like Ghost of Tsushima could be like $80.
Yeah.
Like I'd
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
see more variation, but the video game industry just loves having that standard.
Yeah.
And
See, I do have a rebuttal for why they may not go up, because we are moving into a digital era, right? We've seen it with the Xbox, the Xbox whatever, the Slim Xbox Slim doesn't have a CD drive. The new PS5 has an option where you don't have a CD drive. So you're cutting down prices with how many discs you have to make. You're also selling. You're not selling physical games. It's going straight to the developer. You don't have to, pay GameStop also and then pay
right.
the developer. That
But you
full
do have to
$60.
but you do have to pay the like if someone bought it on PlayStation and it's an Ubisoft game, they do still have to pay PlayStation.
Right, but I feel like that's already written in the contract anyway. Like before they say, "Hey,"
Just like GameStop though. It's the same thing.
well, I don't know. I feel like games are more popular now than they were back then, and it's easier to get video games now than it was back then. So a lot of game companies are making more money based still off of this $60 thing than they ever did in the past, and that $60 may not be a lot per unit that a company gets, but it could be a lot per, because Last of Us sold like what 9 million units.
Sold like 4 million in the first week just in Europe.
Yeah, so it's
not fair to compare every game to The Last of Us, though.
Right, but I'm saying that most AAA games have that ability to sell that many units, digital or physical. So they may not need to raise the prices because they're selling more. It's easier to hand them out, I guess. It's easier for people to get their hands on.
I hear what you're saying, and I think it's valid. The whole point of, we're not selling physical copies anymore. There's more people playing games now than ever before. And also, the fact that microtransactions are a thing. Mm-hmm. I also think another thing to take into account is, people are making deals with Game Pass and PlayStation Now. So that's another way to make revenue. Game sales make a lot of revenue, and I think that's all fair and valid. And I think that's the reason it's not going up to $80. And I think that's why it's only going up to $70. And I think 70 is totally fair. And we all know how video games go. They're 70 for like 3-4 months, and then they like get chopped in half. Like that's just how video
games are. That's another point. It's like if you really don't want to spend a whole lot, then buy a used copy, or it'll come out, and
that's just how video games are.
That's so. I kind of agree with you after like talking about it. Like it could go up to 70.
It's just $10. Like honestly, like
it's just $10, but you gotta have some games like right away. And
but we've had the $60 for 3 generations of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's pretty safe to assume we'll have $70 for at least this entire next gen. It's not like going to keep going up and up and up.
Right. And that's
unless it does.
unless it does, and then we're really screwed, and then we're going to have to find another hobby. But
once like game prices go beyond $80, though, I'm kind of. And also another thing to add to your point, games now are doing like digital deluxes and selling games for like over $100 still now.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. You get
you're right. They are making more money now than ever before, but it's just why not make a little bit more?
So I'm gonna switch gears here, and we're gonna talk about people of the industry, just because I feel like we've gone on long enough, and there's no good segue to this. But I personally watch Game Informer podcast because their podcast goes on for a long time. And there's a guy who hosts it right now. His name is Andy McNamara. And he actually left Game Informer after 29 years.
That's
which
insane.
is insane. And he didn't post anything about why he was leaving. He just said, I'm still going to be in video games. I'm still doing this. These people are great. It's just my time. He was editor-in-chief. He started from the bottom, went to editor-in-chief in 29 years, and then he just leaves. And it's kind of crazy how somebody can put 30 years of their life into something and
just step down out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, maybe it wasn't out of nowhere. Maybe he was dealing with some of these allegations that'll come out later, or maybe he
30 years is a long time.
It is.
So maybe he was just time. He's been building his goose egg, and he's ready to go. What's that guy? Adam
Driver, Levine.
No. What's his name? The guy that was on Rev 3 Gaming. Adam.
Adam.
Oh God.
Adam S.
Adam Scott. No.
No, not Adam Scott. God damn it.
I'm gonna look it up. Hold on. This is important stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's also a big one. But he joined Rev 3 pretty late though. And what was his name? Sessler. Adam Sessler.
Yep. The Cess. Yep. Yeah, the Cess.
The Cess. Address the Cess. Yeah.
Address the Cess. Like Sessler, though, he was just like, I've just been doing this a long time. I'm becoming an old ass man. I kind of want to just move on and do something different.
But he doesn't do video games anymore, though.
He actually does. He went on to produce. What he went to do is he went on to produce that Friday the 13th game.
Oh, okay. So it's a different direction.
Yeah, he got out of video games media and actually started making games. Which
yeah. So maybe that's what Andy's doing.
Maybe he's just like, maybe he wants to make his own YouTube channel or something, or
there was a
network
before he was doing the podcast. He had somebody else doing the podcast, and he now does. I forget what his name is, but he now does the Min Max show. And he was doing the podcast for like 5 or 6 years, I think. That was before I started watching him. And he just started his own podcast. He just left Game Informer, started his own podcast called The Min Max Show. And maybe that's what Andy's doing. He doesn't want like this big conglomerate thing. He doesn't want to like answer to a whole bunch of people.
Well, and you're seeing it more and more, like especially in the time of COVID, where it's like these people are now working from home and they're like, I'm doing all of this from home and I could just do it for myself. I don't need the backing of this company to do this stuff.
Right.
And there was that guy from Kotaku. I don't know if he's still with Kotaku, but he's got his own channel now, and his name is escaping me because everything is escaping me today.
That's fine.
Tim Rogers, I think, is his name. He's hilarious, but he's
that the guy that does like the 3-hour videos.
Yeah, the like 3-hour reviews. Yeah. He's got his own channel now. So really? Like more and more you're seeing it. Like, of course the big example is, Greg Miller of IGN leaving IGN to create Kind of Funny. Like you're seeing more and more of that every day. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even in
Maybe.
like the movies industry, like the movies industry, there was big things like Collider and Screen Junkies, and a lot of those guys are leaving Collider and Screen Junkies to start their own thing because they're like, we don't need Collider.
Maybe it has something to do with like they have so much of a following that they're like, I have like 2 million people that follow me,
Right.
and they get messages like, hey, you could do your own thing, and they're like, maybe I could, maybe I could do my own thing, and then they just do it because people will follow them. Like
Yep.
I'm gonna still follow Andy on Twitter and see what the hell he's up to whenever he announces whatever his next thing is, and
Yeah, that's
I'll,
basically what I'm
I'll
saying is like these people don't need these companies. These companies
right.
need these people.
Right. At least at first, these people need the companies, right? Maybe it's like a stepping stone where like nobody knows your name. And then once you make a name for yourself after 29 years, then you're like, okay, now I can do this by myself.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
even with Funhouse, right? Like, there's Bruce Green and
Mhm.
Lawrence. They
Yeah.
probably needed Funhouse to build that, but they were there for like 8 years. Now they're like, well, we're gonna go do our own thing. And
Yeah.
that's fine. That's the way it should be, honestly. Or it's like even like SNL. It's even like
Yeah.
SNL.
Yeah. It's
You
very
go
much
on
like
SNL
SNL.
for a while and you build that clout and now you're fucking Adam Sandler, like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just kind of how
You're
it
Will
goes, right?
Ferrell. Yeah. You're John Hader. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of people leaving,
Bill Hader.
um, Bill Hader. You're right. Bill. I don't know who I'm thinking of,
John
but
Heater? Isn't that the
he
guy who played Napoleon Dynamite?
Napoleon Dynamite is the guy that I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Hader
Um,
was the guy on SNL.
right, right. Okay. Anyway, speaking of people leaving, this is an update to last week. I believe we talked about this. Ubisoft's vice president Maxime Bellam, uh, probably saying that name wrong, but he was accused of assault and harassment. He has just now resigned from the company, and an internal investigation is ongoing within Ubisoft. So I wonder what happened. That seems like he may have done some shit that
It's
actually he did, and people have proof of it. And he's like, I need to step down
he
before.
didn't willingly resign.
No,
He
absolutely
was
not.
encouraged to resign. He
Absolutely.
he did some dumb shit, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all throughout everything, man.
Yeah.
As long as
I
it's not.
hate going back to this too. I really hate going
Yeah,
back to this harassment thing, but it's just all
it's
over right
important
now.
to talk about. I
Yeah.
think put a spotlight on it. Fuck these people.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not Yves Guillemot. That would have been horribly sad if it was Yves Guillemot.
It would be. That seems genuine, but who
Yeah,
knows?
it's like it'd be like finding out Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Reggie
It'd be like,
Fils-Aimé,
no,
yeah.
Reggie.
Reggie, what the hell? You were my favorite. You were the chosen one.
Yeah, it's always these guys that like Maxim Bellon. Like I don't know who the fuck that is,
I
but
don't know.
he must have
I
been
don't know who
important. He
either.
was the vice president. So
Yeah,
basically,
that's a big position
he's the
for a
guy who
company.
worked with Yves Guillemot, like
Yeah,
right hand
yeah.
man.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? It's just one of those crazy things.
Yeah,
But
and
I
it and
figured.
it and it just makes you wonder how deep it goes
Hmm.
in the gaming
Yeah,
industry and how much more of this we're going to see. It reminds me of the Hollywood Me Too movement, but now it's just video games. Like it's
it's
happening again. It's like the same thing, but just a different industry. And I think
yeah,
we're going to see more and more of it as the weeks go on.
yeah,
You know,
probably.
and
I don't.
we saw a bit of it, even with like not even sexual harassment, but just harassment. That's another big issue in video games.
Yeah,
See that all over the place. Yeah, it's just yeah.
for sure. I wasn't planning on spending a whole lot of time about that, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to follow up a story that we touched on last week, and it's good that something's being done.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important, and I'll keep up with the story, seeing what the investigation, because it says an internal investigation is ongoing. So there's going to be something, a PR whatever it's called, where you stand up in front of people. Press release. There's going to be a press release eventually, maybe, and I'll fill you in on that too.
Yeah, probably next week.
Yeah. So the last piece of news is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Speaking of Ubisoft, this was pretty good. Speaking of Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Valhalla footage leaks, and it doesn't look very good. It went up on Reddit last night, so the 5th, June 5th. That's when I saw it, and it got taken off of YouTube before I saw it. Like, it was minutes after it went up. It got taken off of YouTube, and I had to watch it reversed on Streamable. And I watched, it was like 25 minutes of a mission. And I'll tell you, it doesn't look very good. It looks like Odyssey, but it looks like a very early build of Odyssey. I know we were all hoping for more of a classic Assassin's Creed, Black Flag-esque, or even, Assassin's Creed 2 Syndicate-styled game, but it's got the open world, it's got the horseback riding, it's got all the same shit.
It's really a bummer.
It looks like an Odyssey / Origins clone. That's all it looks like. It's
really a bummer because when I heard about Valhalla, what everyone was saying, at least in their press releases, is this is supposed to be more of a classic Assassin's Creed. Mm-hmm. And hearing about the gameplay, I didn't see it, so I don't know for sure. But from what I heard, it's more like Odyssey.
Yep.
More like Origin. These more games as a service type games where they're just like too big. You never actually beat them. They go on forever. Yeah. Keep adding content. They keep wanting you to buy more shit inside of the game. And I was looking forward to another just regular ass Assassin's Creed game. And I can't help but feel like it's our fault that these games don't exist anymore, because the last one that came out, really, that was like a classic Assassin's Creed, was Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Yeah. And it was a great game, and no one bought it.
Yep.
But then Origin comes out, and everyone bought it. Odyssey came out, everyone buys it. So I can't help but feel like it's our fault.
Because Unity
not my fault, but you know what I mean?
Right. But Unity was so bad, at least at launch. I hear it's gotten better. They fixed some things. But I could not finish Unity, and that put a really bad mouth in my taste, a really bad taste in my mouth. And so I didn't really want to buy Syndicate when I saw it. And then I saw that they were like, it's a story about like two assassins. You could be the brother or you could be the sister, and you kind of have to be both in order to do that. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. And it was getting okay reviews, so I picked it up, and it was really good. I really like that style of game. But then Origins comes out, or whatever it was that came out next, and it was like, this is completely different from anything
Origin, yeah.
And it looked interesting until I really got down with like the gameplay, and it started.
Well, it got rid of all of its core mechanics that made it Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it looks more like a bad like action. Horizon Zero Dawn or a bad Witcher. It doesn't do anything new. It doesn't do anything exciting. It's an RPG.
And it feels like The Division.
Yeah.
Inside of the Assassin's Creed universe. That's what it feels like.
It's a very empty. Like, there's stuff in it, but it's very, like, the side missions are empty. The missions themselves are empty. The characters are empty. It's just very.
Yeah, I'm bummed because I kind of had every intention to buy Valhalla, and now I don't think I will.
But, I do have to say this because it's not. It wasn't an official announcement. It could have been like, I don't know how long they've been working on this. I don't know how long.
Yeah, how old is that build of the game?
Right. So it could have been just like an Assassin's Creed idea on the old bones of Origins, on the engine that they had, and they're just kind of like, maybe we could do this, and they just kind of reskinned a couple of things. But it did have voice acting. It did have like choreograph. It did have new animations and stuff. So it's I'm kind of leaning towards like it's pretty close to done, but also if they plan to release it by the new console release, it's going to be bad. It just looks really janky. It looks very bad to me. Some like, I don't know, some 12-year-old kid could see it and go, "Wow, this is cool. You can kick this guy 16 feet back."
This is
like,
going to change my life.
yeah, like, when I remember when Assassin's Creed 2 announced dual assassinations, and I was like, "Whoa," but I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's not an official announcement. We'll probably see it in the coming weeks. But for now, this week, it just looks bad and not something that I would ever pick up for any amount of money, honestly.
I agree. Maybe $5, but I probably wouldn't even start it up. The problem I have with these games is like they don't respect my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of video game companies consider how much time is currency. It is. And if you don't respect my time, I'm not going to respect your game. And that's how I feel about those games, like The Division and, Destiny and Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey. Like these games, once you play one of them, you can't play another. And like, or even the other Ubisoft game, the Ghost Recon Wildlands is like that too.
Wildlands.
It's it's just like never-ending content, which is cool. It's like I appreciate that, but also, how about you respect my time and
you put in a little bit of effort into missions, or
you just give me a complete game and then make another one. Leave me alone.
you make a game that has legs. If it's just like, go here, shoot those guys, go here, shoot those guys, go over there and shoot those guys. It's
all
like,
their missions are always fetch quests, and it's boring.
Blow up this thing, go over there, shoot that guy, make sure this guy dies, go over there, blow up that thing. It's just like, I'm over it. Give me something that that's funny. But give me a mission where I'm walking a goat back to its owner and trying to, I don't know, something interesting that that a time stop mission, but that's all I've got for this week. I don't know if you have anything to add on to that.
No, but I will address a question to the audience. All right.
Oh, okay. Here we go. What's
my question to the audience is, in the comment section, let us know what you think the future of loot boxes look like. And with our infinite knowledge, we will give you the answer of what the future of loot boxes are.
Because I know the answer.
Next week.
I know Jake knows the answer.
We have the answer, but you can't find out till next week, and you're just going to have to wait and see.
You're going to wait for next week. Speaking of next week, we got, let's see. There's some things happening next week. There might be one thing happening next week. Let me pull up my calendar.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about, actually?
No, go for it. That gives me time to pull this up.
Xbox announced their event.
Oh, they did. I did not hear about that. When was that? Do you know?
I'm trying to pull that up right now. The event it's the Xbox Series X Game Showcase is July 23rd.
July 23rd? That's like 2 weeks away.
It is. Yep.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty nice. That's right around the same time. No, actually it's not. I have next week's calendar right now.
This comes from our boy Tom Warren at The Verge. Microsoft will hold its Xbox Series X Games event on July 23rd at 9 a.m. Pacific time. The company is planning on showing games made by its Xbox game studios, including Halo Infinite. 343 Industries briefly teased Halo Infinite in a trailer a couple weeks ago, feeling that the banished antagonists are whatever Halo bullshit. Yeah. So yeah. Well, let's talk about this for a minute. Actually,
Okay. All right.
what do you think?
I
What do
mean,
you think they're going to show?
it's not for 2 weeks. It's not for 2 weeks. All
Okay.
right.
We'll hold off. We'll hold off on predictions then.
Okay.
We'll hold off on
Okay.
predictions.
We can do that next week. But
Yeah. Good idea.
The next show, our next show, for next week, we're going to be talking about Devolver Digital. They're having their thing on Saturday the 11th. So we'll be able to talk about that. I don't know what the hell they can do. They always throw it into something way
I didn't know they were
then.
doing something.
Yeah. That's on Saturday the 11th. I'm not sure what time, but I will definitely. We will definitely be talking about that. And,
hell yeah!
Nina Struthers and how hot she
when
looks
is that? When did you say that was?
Saturday. It's
Saturday.
This Saturday. I don't know what time.
Because maybe I'll stream it. Check me out on Twitch. Maybe I'll be streaming that.
That'd be cool if we can.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do I have a time? It says noon on my calendar. I could be wrong, but I have noon. And then the day after that, so Sunday the 12th, Ubisoft is doing their Ubisoft Forward, which is their E3 showcase.
That's on a Sunday?
That's on Sunday, the 12th, at also noon. I have on my calendar. Could be wrong about that too. But
probably stream that one as well.
Yeah, so those are the two events that we're going to be looking forward. And Ubisoft definitely has been keeping us in the dark with a bunch of things. I think we'll see more Legion, Watch Dogs Legion, and I think we will see the actual gameplay of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, at least. Maybe something on Skull and Bones. Do you have anything that you think?
Probably. I'm imagining maybe they'll tease some sort of new Far Cry game.
Okay.
I'm hoping for is a new Splinter Cell game, which would be
cool.
Awesome.
That would be great.
Maybe a new Division. I don't know.
Maybe, but also they said something about like they want this one to go on forever. So maybe a new DLC for the Division or.
Yeah, but the PS5's coming out.
That's true.
They'd want something new. Maybe a new Rainbow Six, dude. Who knows?
Oh, there you go. New Rainbow Six Siege
2.
Or maybe something like a Trials, a new Trials game. Could be something.
Yeah, it could Rayman. It could be like anything. Like maybe they show off a new Mario Rabbids.
I'm down.
I'd be down for that.
Game.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game. That's pretty much it for the show, though. That question again is, what is the future of loot boxes?
And with our infinite knowledge, we will let you know next week.
We will tell you next week, Tuesday next week.
Make sure you watch Jake and Corey podcast. We're gonna try and do a spoiler cast this week for The Last of Us Part 2. Hopefully that happens. If it doesn't happen this week, it's not happening.
I will finish it because we're only waiting on me, and it's my fault. It is my fault. We would have had it done last week or this week. It would have been up this week.
People are still beating it. I doubt hardly anyone's beating it. So
it is a long game.
Yeah, very long.
Okay,
but yeah,
keep plugging. I'm sorry.
Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. Emergency Pizza _ is my Twitter. My Twitch is Lonercast. You got any plugs, Nick?
I don't have any plugs. I
should invest in a butt plug. Got one of these.
Dude, absolutely. Just put that up and then in the plug segment. I did get a capture card, so I could start streaming as soon as I get home from my wonderful vacation here in the Bayou, I guess. So maybe we'll have something. Maybe I will have something to put up, something to upload to the YouTube Lonercast.
Nice.
But that's about it.
Cool.
That's it for me.
Good show.
Good show.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.